There are tons of stupid things on the internet, but what really takes the biscuit is when folks say atheism isn't real and that their sky wizard is the realest one despite them having no proof for it. And we're the stupid ones. Really. Theists say stupid things sometimes, and here are just a few more of those stupid things. Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims, and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. Believing in gods makes you unhappy. But so what? Yeah, that's said in one of today's videos, along with how to talk to an atheist and why you're wrong about atheism existing. Most of the time, creators focus on just one video, but here is a collection of silly things believers in God say rounded up in one place so you can get your daily dose of dumb and find something more valuable to watch. So, before getting into a whole load of stupidity, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe and the bell, and hopefully the algorithm can stop being stupid. And a super thanks to those that hit super thanks in some recent videos: Brando Calrissian, Megatron Jenkins, Condor Boss, Kevin, Fred Says So, and William Horton. And a big thank you to channel members who get to use Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe and more hen emojis. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you all. More hen. Okay, Frank Turek has been quiet lately. Let's see how his new hair's looking.
In witnessing to like atheist friends or family, like, do you have a single definitive like go-to piece of evidence or an argument that you think is the most compelling?
Yeah, it's a question. If Christianity were true, would you become a Christian?
Frank, you old bugger. How are you doing? You grew your hair out. Well, that was a choice. If Christianity were true, would I be Christian? I don't know. If I had roots, would I be a tree?
And a lot of people will stop and hesitate or say no, because it's not a head problem, it's a heart problem.
Yeah. It's a neither problem. Firstly, why are you using your heart to decide things when all it demonstrably does is pump blood around your body? And secondly, it's not a head problem to not want to follow a dude that, if real, decides that it's okay to murder women and children at the drop of a hat, and that thought it was ever okay to own people as property.
They don't want it to be true. They don't want there to be a God. Why? Because they want to be God over their own lives.
No, I just want to be a decent member of the community. Ape alone weak. Apes together strong.
They're not on a truth quest. They're on a happiness quest. And they're just going to believe whatever they think is going to make them happy. Here's the problem. You can make yourself happy over the short term, doing a lot of fun, but ultimately selfish and sinful things. But over the long term, it's a disaster.
So be a miserable and believe in a God, just like Frankie boy, right?
And everyone in this room over 40 years old knows what I'm talking about, because many of us have tried it ourselves, right? I'm going to live my way. I'm going to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with whom I want to do it, at any time. No, you're not, at least not very long. Who's going to put up with that?
Me. I'm over 40. I don't need a God because of my age. What are you talking about?
What's going to happen to your relationships if you're a complete me monster? You know what's going to happen if you follow your impulses and you just do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it? I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to be divorced, addicted, broken, alone, and probably prematurely dead.
It sounds like you'd be an horrific person without believing in a God, Frank. Thank goodness you do, because you'd be a bit of a if you didn't have made-up rules to follow. But I do whatever I want with whoever I want. It just so happens I want to do things with my family. No God needed for that, bub.
If you want contentment, you got to go straight through truth, and Jesus is the truth.
Wrong. I feel pretty content, and Jesus has nothing to do with it. Stop making up reasons to need a God when quite clearly you can be decent and often a better member of society without believing in one.
So always ask people, if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? If the person hesitates or says no, it's not the existence of God that's the problem. It's their resistance to God.
You can't resist something that doesn't exist, matey. But even if a God were real and I could resist it, that would mean it's a pretty weak-ass God. A puny floating circle can just not believe in something, and all it can do is get its whiny believers to cry about it. So weak.
That is the problem. They don't want it to be true. Now, if they say, yes, I would, then say, why don't we study a book together? Why don't you study Mere Christianity together? Or I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, or Case for Christ, or pick a book and go through it with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Let me guess. All Frank Turek books, right? Sorry, Frank. I'm not convinced of gods, and even if Christianity were true, that dumb-sounding God sounds like a bit of an idiot, and a weak one at that. Next.
Should we answer the fool according to his folly or not? Well, today's question centers around Proverbs 26, 4 and 5, which says, answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. But then, of course, it says in 5, answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes.
So wait, these verses contradict each other. Do you talk to a fool or not?
Now, we're going to note that the apparent contradiction between these verses will vanish in their application, as we'll show. But anyway, let's break this down.
Oh, you did notice. Well, good on you. But let's see how you weasel out of that one.
The first thing we need to figure out is who we're talking about here. And the proverb says it's the fool. So who is that? Well, the Bible says the fool says in their heart there is no God. That's Psalm 14:1.
I agree. Fools use their hearts to make decisions. It's the smart folks that use their minds. And Cal, buddy, you're quoting the Bible. And when it comes to the Bible...
No one cares!
So the Bible clearly identifies atheists as fools. I mean, why?
No, it doesn't. It states folks that use their hearts for decision-making are the dum-dums. I don't know a single atheist that says, I feel it in my heart. You know who does say that? Goddos.
Obviously, atheists that have high IQ, I used to call myself one, and there's people way smarter than me that say they don't believe in God. So this foolishness that the psalmist mentions is obviously not pure cognitive ability. It's a mindset or a worldview that omits the idea of God, which can't lead to wise conclusions. So what's the fool's folly? Well, although this verse may be speaking about a variety of people being foolish, we know that atheists are definitely counted among them. So let's identify what the fool's folly is for atheists. Classical atheists declare there is no God. So they have to have a way of explaining their existence without a supernatural creator.
No, I don't. I can say I don't know. I just don't think something that hasn't been demonstrated to exist had anything to do with it.
And the only option for them then is some form of evolution, no matter what you call it. Darwinian evolution, neo-Darwinian evolution, chaos theory, punctuated equilibrium, etc.
I just think evolution works, buddy.
It's the concept that everything came about through naturalistic processes, and that is the foolishness the psalmist speaks about. Atheos, no God. The fool says in their heart, there is no God.
So because you don't understand evolution, someone who doesn't believe in a God is foolish? Not understanding evolution is a you problem, Calvin.
So atheists, many claiming that they're open-minded, rational, and logical, live inside of a mental paradigm called naturalism, and they don't think outside that box, so to speak. So all thinking atheists must believe in evolution. That's their main folly. So here's what not to do.
Here's not what to do. Assume atheists all believe the same thing outside of not being convinced of gods.
Verse 4 says not to answer a fool according to his folly, or you will be like him. That means Christians shouldn't answer atheists by buying into their way of thinking, or else they will appear foolish themselves.
Well, I think they have the foolish part covered by believing in the undemonstrated.
I mean, the last thing an atheist needs to hear from a Christian is they affirm their foundational doctrine, evolution, is true.
Not related, but there are millions of God believers that accept evolution. Not accepting things that can easily be demonstrated is a creationist issue.
So declaring Genesis 1 to 11 is compatible with evolution, it's practically indefensible against an informed opponent because of the effects that this would have on the entire biblical narrative.
Did he just say that if evolution was accepted by creationists, then it would mean Genesis would be wrong? So that is why they say evolution's wrong.
By affirming evolution in long ages before humans appeared, Christians can't even explain the gospel rationally or give a ready answer to the number one philosophical question skeptics ask about Christianity, which is, if there's such a loving God, why is there so much death and suffering?
Wait, let me deflect by completely changing the subject mid-sentence.
Your God used billions of years of death and suffering to create and called it very good? Nice God you got there, buddy.
Well, this is unlike creationists. He's doing the work for us.
I mean, so what should we do? Well, Proverbs 26:5, it says, answer a fool according to his folly, or he will appear wise in his own eyes. In this case, it's the second half of the verse that provides the context as to how to answer. I can remember that as an atheist, when I met Christians who could not answer my questions or seemed to try to avoid certain topics and reroute the conversation towards something more comfortable, I often felt that they were simply mentally inferior and illogical because they wouldn't engage my concerns intellectually. They seemed mostly to appeal to emotional arguments from morality, and I became wise in my own eyes because I felt that the Christian faith was for simpletons that just, couldn't deal with science and evolution.
So what? You decided to go down the simpleton route and get a job with answers in Genesis?
It wasn't until I met a Christian that answered me according to my folly, i.e., understood what evolutionists taught and believed, and then pointed out the numerous obvious challenges to it, making me step back and defend it intellectually, that I no longer felt so wise. I now had to put on my thinking cap and try to rally a defense around this whole evolutionary concept instead of just regurgitating evolutionary talking points that I'd been taught that I assumed were, I assumed them rather than robustly critiqued and arrived at logically. So
That just says to me you didn't understand evolution in the first place, which is okay. I'm not saying I do, but the basics aren't that difficult to grasp.
So should we answer the fool according to his folly or should we not? The answer is yes.
But just ignoring the contradiction and pretending it doesn't exist? I mean, you are quite close on this, Calvin, but you have to dismiss it so that in your eyes your book remains true. And that's pretty dumb. Next.
Hi, I'm Josh, host of The Furnace, and in just 5 minutes, my goal is to convince you that atheism doesn't actually exist at all.
No!
Now, if you're an atheist and you stumbled across this video, welcome. This isn't just a home for Christians, but for anyone who's authentically curious about their own belief systems and how those beliefs compare to others. So stick around if this video makes you think more deeply about your beliefs or lack thereof.
Fine, I'll give it a try.
The claim that atheism isn't real might come as a shock, considering 44% of people aged 19 to 29 consider themselves atheist or agnostic. If you fit into this category, then hear my heart when I say this. You can deny the existence of God, but you cannot deny your own worship.
Oh, you're one of those folks that thinks you know what atheists think and believe on their behalf.
See, worship isn't limited to sitting in a pew on Sunday, singing songs in your car, or praying before bed. Putting it simply, we worship whatever we center our lives around.
It must really be difficult for those that do to not understand how others couldn't, because it becomes such an important part of their personality.
For some people, it's money. For others, it's career or relationships or politics, fame, pleasure, or themselves.
Oh, this is awkward. I don't worship any of those things.
Humans are innately wired to ascribe ultimate value to something, and whatever that thing is your God.
Oh, then my God is no God, which causes a paradox, and now the world has exploded.
When someone claims to believe in nothing, they're usually elevating their own reasoning, morality, and desires as the ultimate authority in their lives. It's an inescapable truth. Something will sit on the throne of your heart, whether you want it to or not.
Why do these dum-dums think that the heart has anything to do other than transporting blood around the body? Sheesh.
For example, some of you might be thinking, I don't worship myself. I hate myself. Why would I worship what I don't even like?
Wow, you're creating quite a character there, buddy. I don't hate myself.
There's a common misconception hidden in the question. You don't have to love what you make an idol. Look at the world of politics for a moment. You probably know a lot of people that can't stand Donald Trump.
Hey, we don't talk politics on this channel, so I couldn't possibly answer that. Trump.
But have you ever noticed that they're the ones who seem to talk about him the most? And nobody thinks about the woke left more than conservatives who can't stand political correctness. These people don't realize it, but they've given the object of their disdain free rein to sit on the throne of their hearts.
Oh, so you're just changing what words mean to make it all fit. Thinking about things that piss you off isn't worship. It's just having an opinion.
Following this logic, think to the people you know who have suicidal thoughts. Yeah, they might truly hate themselves, but more often than not, they spend the majority of their days thinking about how much they don't like themselves.
You think that is why people have suicidal thoughts? That may be the stupidest thing anyone's ever said.
They've made themselves into their own gods and have built a religion around self-hatred toward their own image. There was a time that I did this very same thing.
Oh, that was projection. Gotcha.
In high school, I struggled with depression heavily. As a Christian, I'd pray that God would take it away from me. But he instead revealed to me that it would go away on its own if I just dwelled on him. Wouldn't you know it, when I stopped thinking about myself and my own imperfections constantly, there was no room left for depression.
It sounds like you just stopped thinking about depression and became consumed by something else, which may mean you're just suppressing and might need therapy, sir.
I hardly remembered what there was to be depressed about when I successfully focused on God, or anything else for that matter. And that anything else is important. This is why our society is so in love with distractions. You're usually worshiping something undeniably negative for ourselves and find relief in distractions or temporary worship of something else.
You might think you know me, but you're doing a very terrible job of hitting the money there.
This video isn't a warning against having hobbies, of course. Not everything you focus on is an idol, but whatever you regard above everything else is. You'll know that depression is your idol when your lens of life is filled with negativity and pessimism, no matter how objectively good things become.
Why are you so desperate for folks to worship anything?
You'll know that your current relationship is an idol when your partner can make you cut off your friends and family, and their every word has the power to shift your happiness.
It sounds as though you're hanging around with the wrong people, if that's what they make you do. It's really sad that believers think that because something happened to them, it happens to everyone.
You'll know that your intellect has become an idol when nothing else can be true or even worthy of consideration if it doesn't pass your personal standard of reason. It closes you off to alternative viewpoints before you ever truly hear them out.
Mate, what are you talking about now? Maybe call into some atheist call-in shows to understand where they stand on issues instead of making stuff up on their behalf and often getting it wrong.
The question isn't, do you believe in God, but rather, which God do you serve? And if you truly still believe that you don't worship yourself or your relationships or your hobbies or anything else in the world, then be careful. Because you might be bowing down to the most dangerous idol of all, the prideful belief that you're somehow above humanity and its inescapable need to worship.
What about secret answer number 3, where I just want what's best for humanity as a whole? Are you going to twist that to be some kind of worship too?
But what do you think? Did I convince you? Let me know in the comments below.
You absolutely did not. But there are a few more folks watching this video, so... Next.
I don't think you atheists understand. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ and accept him as your Lord and Savior, you're not going to be in heaven. You understand? You're not going to heaven.
Oh, no. Oh, well.
You are going to miss out on living where there are pearly gates because that natural mineral that's on earth is also in heaven.
What? Pearl? You think I like pearls? What on earth gave you that impression?
And the gates are made out of it. And you're going to miss out on streets lined with gold because that natural mineral that is also on earth is also in heaven.
Gold? You think I care about gold? All I care about is gin and tonic. If you tell me that there are fountains of that in some cloud realm, then maybe I'll accept it. But dude, gold is heavy. I really don't think there are gold-plated streets in a floating land in the sky.
And although earth made it valuable because they limited its access, thus driving up the value of it, it's also valuable to have it in heaven because why not? And you know what else you're going to miss out if you're not in heaven? You're going to miss out on seeing all the people on earth who already get on your nerves because all they can do is talk about their Jesus. You're going to miss out on them forever.
Sold! I definitely do not want to see them. Thank you.
You know what else you're going to miss out? You're going to miss out on praising and worshiping the creator of the entire universe for eternity. How much more fun could you have than worshiping him forever? I mean, how fragile is his ego?
Oh, wait, I think I got.
So I just hope you understand that if you're not a Christian, you're going to miss out on all this fun in heaven. Well, it's not a lot of fun because you probably can't drink or dance or listen to music or whatever you do here on earth that brings you enjoyment, you probably can't really do it in heaven. But the good God will torture you for eternity if you don't accept him. So get in line, you stupid atheists.
God damn it, I think this was satire. Well, fair play, matey. You win. Next.
You're so stupid for believing in a God you can't see. You believe in an invisible sky daddy. How can you believe in a man that dies and comes back to life and you preach it with so much passion? Is what I keep getting in my comments and what I keep hearing from people ever since I started being bold for Jesus. Kind of funny how you don't have that same energy if I say that I believe in an Easter bunny or if I say I believe in, Santa Claus. You would be like, oh, that's cute. I love that you believe in that.
Well, no. If you believed in the Easter Bunny and Santa, I would talk about you behind your back and think that you're a few sandwiches short of a picnic. But that's about it. Because not believing in those things won't get you tortured for an eternity in a make-believe fire pit.
But whenever I talk about Jesus, you trip out. You freak out. You know why? Because that's the only name that actually has power. That's the only name where demons actually tremble from. Maybe it's not you freaking out. Maybe it's the demons inside of you. I know deep inside every single person in the world knows that there's a God, knows that there's a creator.
You know, the deep inside every person knows that there's a God crowd really don't have any arguments when they default to that. It's the stupidest argument. It's like saying, I know you are, you said you are, but what am I? Surely, deep down, everyone knows that the true God is Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leaf be upon her.
I mean, Romans chapter 1 talks about it, that every single person is without excuse because God revealed himself to them through many ways. But the problem is that they want to suppress that feeling. They want to suppress that understanding.
Then God isn't worthy of belief because I'm stronger than it. If I can suppress a God, it isn't very powerful.
They run away from it because they're scared that if we are right, if there is a God, they have to be held accountable for their sin and for their lifestyle. And nobody wants that.
Being held accountable of made-up things isn't really a concern of mine.
So, of course, if you're comfortable in your sin, of course, you're going to continue pushing that away. I'm never going to apologize for being loud and proud about my Savior because I love you too much for me to shut up.
And I don't know you, so I just think you're saying stupid things. When will believer folks get it into their heads that hearts don't make choices and just saying, you know, deep down there's a God isn't how to demonstrate supernatural beings? All this has done is prove that theists do say stupid things. Oh, and that one fella got me. Well played, sir. Well played. Did any of these folks convince you? Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as a reminder to never use your heart to make decisions. A big thank you to this month's top level ticks on Patreon. Dark Ether Piao, Tamo, The Barely Bearable Atheist, George, Godless Granny, Addy Rockhart, The Enixes, Jakari, Elizabeth, Whiskey Tech Fred, Rick and Ray, as well as all the $3 base ticks and channel members. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description along with links to all my other socials, or become a member by hitting the join button below this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.